First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakag Wadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone, and as well as to include the elder bishops on down, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Brakatham, to you brothers out there of the hopeful elect, as well as we believe that we all do faith, and it's your brother Laban. And just following up on my last video, I want to speak on this as well, because Australia, they're setting up a digital identification framework to where in order for you to go online, you first have to sign up. And if you have signed up, as I'm guessing, you have to reauthorize and sign in to your digital identification to use basically the World Wide Web. So let's get into this. Australia just became the world's first search prison. Citizens forced to upload digital ID to use Google. It's happening. The open internet is dying before our eyes. In Australia, a new wave of regulation is quietly transforming the web into a monitored, ID verified space where anonymity no longer exists. Under the guise of protecting children, Australians will soon be forced to verify their age and, by extension, their identity every time they log in to a search engine like Google or Bing. The government calls it age assurance. Critics are calling it what it really is: the first step towards a digital ID prison planet. So there you go. So in order for you to use the World Wide Web, you will have to always authorize yourself and sign into this digital ID. All right. It's kind of like when you want to do online banking, right? You have to constantly sign in your details, whether it's your password or your whether you have to sign in your password and as well as your name to use online banking. So that's the way they're going to set this thing up. Okay? Because just as well as I mentioned in my last video, they want us to be an IOT, which the term IoT means the Internet of Things, is a network of physical objects from common household items to complex industrial machinery that embedded with sensors, software, and other technologies to connect and exchange data over the internet. This allows them to be monitored and controlled remotely, enabling automation and providing data that can improve efficiency, convenience, and decision making. So what they have here, what IoT includes, and I want to go all the way down to reading wearables and biological devices, smart watches and other personal devices that collect and transmit data, people with heart monitors, implants, or farm animals with biochip transponders. And that's why RFK Jr., that non-talking ass individual, right? He spoke on it. If the time, would be, and I'm not going to say word for word, but he was talking about Americans wearing wearables one of these days. And the wearable that we're expecting them to bring into fruition is the implantable device, where that right there, which right now people are already using their phones. That's the current thing. If you're using your card, like I use my card, like that's outdated, basically, because what people are doing now is people are swiping their phones for everything, to get on transportation, to do online banking, to buy goods. That's the thing nowadays. There's no such thing as right now you having to type in your PIN number if your card ain't going through. Listen, that's all outdated now. The new thing is the phone. Okay? So it's much more convenient. So how much more convenient will it be when you receive the implantable device and all you got to do is swipe left or right, or you don't even have to swipe. They can actually set up stores that reads your chip while you're walking out of the store. They showed you that in the commercial, where this guy was picking up goods from the store, and all he had to do is, pass the chip reading machine, and then he was able to get his receipt right out of the store. Simple as that. All right. So that's the thing. So in order for you to buy and sell, you have to get access to the internet. And they already got most people hip to the internet. There's a whole, listen, there's generations that don't even know about times when these phones that didn't even exist. So how in the world are they going to be able to function without the World Wide Web? I'm still relatively a young man, right? But I'm old enough to remember when Google actually first came out. I remember my mother, she used to always be a computer geek, right? And I remember she used to first use this program such as Google, and it was fresh around that time. It was it was something that most people didn't really know about until later on. And then all throughout the 2000s, I would say the early 2000s, Google then became the main search engine to use. I remember that, man. So just imagine that you have, once again, you got generations that's never even known about this stuff. That's never even known about the building up of what Google and all of this became into. All right. So you can only but imagine what's going to be had. A lot of people, they're going to line up and they're going to take that seat, because so most people nowadays, this World Wide Web is basically their real world. And without the internet, they don't have a world. Although they live in reality, but the reality ain't what's real to them. What's real to them is this World Wide Web. So when this collapses, what do you think people gonna do? People gonna go fucking berserk and crazy. Okay? And we're not just talking about young people. We can also include people my age and older, because we've been using this stuff for years. So now Google has become habitual to us. So let's keep going here. This is Psalms 121 and verse 9. Keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the gins of the workers of iniquities. And let the wicked fall into their own nets, while still that I withal escape. Absolutely. So we're looking to escape. And okay, yeah, we use these gadgets because we don't have no choice but to use them. But it doesn't mean that we're agreeing with the mark of the beast because we're using these gadgets. No, we're using them to get by and by. Brothers got jobs which, has it so that you got to use these phones. Okay, you got to use your phone for everything. So it doesn't really matter. If you got a job, listen, somehow, some way, you're going to have to use your phone so you can stay on top of things, whatever it is you got to stay on top of. This is a new world now. So, the thing of it is, it doesn't mean that we're in agreement with what Esau is doing, because we very well do see the snare. We see what Esau's trying to do. And the final snare, the final nail in the coffin, let me say it this way. The final nail in the coffin is going to be that chip. So if he can graduate you from one way of doing things to another way of doing things, then that's what he's going to do. And then guess what? You're going to get real comfortable with doing things the way you were doing it before. And so now when the chip comes around, it ain't going to see so taboo, like, wow, I can never take that. Oh, hell no. See, Esau doesn't just hit you, smack you upside the head with his agenda. What he does is he uses, as the scripture says, he's subtle. All right, he's cunning. What he does is he subtly graduates you to basically get you from one place to the final place. All right, that's what he's doing. So we see the snares. We see what he's doing because we're enlightened, as well as the scripture says, how we have the light. And as well as it's written in the book of Psalms that, as David put it, enlighten my eyes, right? So our eyes have been enlightened. And speaking about us being enlightened, let me read this as well. Psalms 18 and 28. For thou will light my candle, the Lord Yahweh my power will enlighten my darkness. So we're in a dark world. So in order for you to see the snares and the jinns right around you, you got to have that torch, don't you? And that's what we have. So we have a greater advantage of all things. Hence is why this is written. 1 John chapter 2 and verse 20. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things. So now what I want to do is I want to read this as this reads over here, Tesco introduces new restrictions across all UK stores that limits how much food you can buy. The supermarket giant has introduced new limits on the amount of items you can buy per shop. Tesco shoppers may find themselves unable to buy everything they want due to a new rule. The supermarket giant has introduced rules to prevent shoppers from buying too many of the same products in a single transaction. And people should be allowed to buy whatever it is that they want to buy. But then again, this just very well shows you that if Esau can do this one little thing, then guess what? He can set up a world where he can limit what you can buy and what you can't buy. That's where all of this is going. Just to simply put that, all right? A social credit score like system that China is now under right now, with you being C-hipped. Okay? That's where all of this is going. So, I mean, it is what it is. We can see it very clear. It's not a matter of I don't know or we're not sure or could very well be or it's a maybe. No, it's none of those things. It's a guaranteed surety that Esau is setting up this one world system in the way that we have in mind, according to Bible prophecy, as well as that's written that we have a more sure word of prophecy. All right. And these demons on the left hand side have strongly deluded these powers, these governments, to take things there. So it's guaranteed, man. We just don't even know when they're going to initiate the mark, as that's written that no man knoweth the hour nor the time when the Son of Man cometh. But we know that once they initiate this implantable device, then we know that we're months ahead towards the end, or probably weeks. We'll have to wait and see. All right. And then Yahushua is going to come back and destroy this man. And of course, you're going to have the missiles that are going to be hitting ground zero, destroying people, especially upon those that have received the mark, and all that stuff. So yeah, eventually we're coming into that time. So that's all I got to say, man. With that, I want to give all of the praise and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Gwadash, and double honor to the apostles of the great millstone as well, and salute to all of the Yakim. And let me back up a bit to include the other bishops as well. And now I say saluting to all of you brothers out there of the hopeful elect, which is the 144,000, and as well as to those that are watching the 1/3 as well. Shalom.